Wolf of Ansbach. I was just a young blacksmith in Ansbach, in the heart of Bavaria, during the bitter autumn of 1685. The town, usually peaceful, with its cobbled streets and the scent of fresh bread wafting from the bakeries, had turned into a place ruled by fear. Conversations in the alleys were no longer about harvests or the next festival. No, we spoke in whispers, glancing nervously over our shoulders, about him, the wolf, or, as many believed, something far worse. It all began with rumors. First, a child, a curly-haired girl, who never came back from the woods where she played. They found her days later, or what was left of her, bearing bite marks no ordinary wolf could leave. The claws had torn flesh in a way that seemed deliberate. Then it was a woman, the miller's wife, who vanished on her way back from the market. Her basket of fruit was discovered spilled along the path, stained dark red. Always women or children. Never grown men. This wasn't natural. This wasn't an animal. I remember the night I saw the creature with my own eyes. The full moon shone silver, bathing the rooftops of Ansbach in a cold, almost unearthly light. I was walking home from the forge, the weight of the hammer still aching in my arms, when I heard a scream. Not just any scream, but a sound that sliced through the air like a blade, heavy with despair. I ran toward it, my heart racing, the freezing air burning my lungs. I reached the edge of the woods, the trees rising like dark sentinels, and then I saw it. The creature stood there, partly illuminated by the moon. It wasn't just a wolf. It was massive, with broad, muscular shoulders like those of a bear, yet it moved with terrifying agility. Its eyes glowed, not like those of an animal, but with a cruel intelligence, as though it knew exactly what it was doing. It held something on the ground, a small, still form, a child. My stomach twisted and I froze, unable to move. The beast turned its head slowly, as if it sensed me, and its eyes locked with mine. I swear to God, those were not the eyes of an animal. They were human, or what once had been human. I ran harder than I ever had in my life, branches snapping behind me. Or maybe it was only my imagination. I didn't look back. I didn't dare. When I reached town, breathless, I told them what I had seen. The men in the tavern, their mugs of beer forgotten, stared with pale faces. "It's the werewolf," whispered old Hans, the hunter, his hand tightening on the hilt of his knife. "He is not just a wolf. He is cursed." The following days were pure terror. Mothers locked their children indoors, and women refused to go out alone, even in daylight. But the creature seemed to mock us, striking when we least expected, leaving mutilated bodies like warnings. The town decided it was time to act. We organized a hunt, a band of men armed with pitchforks, axes, and a few rusty muskets. I was among them, clutching a spear with trembling hands, more from fear than from cold. We followed the monster's tracks into the woods, guided by Hans, who knew every trail as well as his own palm. The air felt heavy, and the silence pressed down on us, as though even the birds knew something evil was near. We found fresh prints on the ground, tracks that began like those of a wolf, but in some places looked disturbingly human. Long, twisted toes with nails like claws. My blood froze when I saw them. The trail led us to an old, abandoned well, overgrown with moss and surrounded by gnarled trees. That's where we found it, The creature stood tall, as if it had been waiting for us, its silhouette framed against the dim moonlight. Its fur was dark, almost black, and its teeth glistened as it growled, a deep, guttural sound that seemed to echo inside my chest. Hans fired first, and the beast let out a howl that made the men stagger back. But there was no turning back. We fought with everything we had. Clumsy blows, cries of fear mingled with courage. Finally, my spear struck its flank, and the creature toppled, tumbling into the well with a final roar. When we dragged the body out, what we saw scarred us forever. In the torchlight, the creature seemed to change. Its fur looked thinner, its limbs longer, almost human. The face, God forgive me, but the face was familiar. Some said it was Johann, the hermit who lived on the outskirts of town, a man no one had seen for months. Others swore it was only a trick of the light or of fear. But those eyes, even lifeless, still seemed to watch us, filled with dark secrets. The town tried to forget, but never could. The well was sealed, and no one speaks of it anymore. Yet sometimes, when the full moon shines over Ansbach, I still hear a distant howl rising from the woods, and I wonder if we truly killed the creature, or if it merely slipped back into the shadows, waiting. The Beast of Gévaudan. My name is Marie, a peasant girl from Gevaudan in southern France, and I live to tell what few ever survived to speak of. It was the year 1764, and our land, once filled with children's laughter and shepherd songs, became a place where terror walked freely. The green hills, the lavender fields, everything seemed tainted by a shadow we could not explain. They called it La Bête, the Beast of Gévaudan, and I saw it. God knows I saw it. It all began with whispers in the villages. First, a young shepherdess was found torn apart near the river. The wounds on her body were not the work of any common wolf. They were deep, precise, almost as if the creature took pleasure in its cruelty. Then a child, a boy, running through the fields, was taken in the dead of night. His scream echoed across the hills. But when the men arrived, only pieces remained. Always women or children, always lurking, as if it chose its victims with a malignant intelligence. I was 17 then, and my family lived in a small cottage on the outskirts of Langon. My mother begged me never to go out alone, but we needed water from the stream, and the day was bright, the sun shining high. How could I imagine death was stalking me? On the way back, with a heavy bucket swaying in my hands, I felt it. A chill, as if the very wind had claws. Silence fell over the field. Not even the birds sang. I looked around, and then I heard it, a low, guttural growl, coming from everywhere and nowhere at once. I turned slowly, my heart pounding so loud I feared the creature could hear it. There it was, on the crest of a hill, outlined against the sky. Not a wolf. Bigger, far bigger, with broad shoulders and a stance that defied nature. Its eyes glowed red, like burning coals, and I swear it stared at me with a hatred no animal should possess. It rose on its hind legs, like a man, yet with terrifying grace, and began to descend the slope toward me. Each step was deliberate, almost slow, as though savoring my fear. I dropped the bucket and ran, the sound of water spilling, mixing with the beast's roar behind me. Branches snapped. The ground trembled beneath its strides. I could feel its hot breath, reeking of flesh and something worse, something rotten and ancient. I stumbled, falling to my knees, certain the end had come. But then I heard the church bell in the distance, and the shouts of men. A band of hunters, drawn by the rumors, was patrolling nearby. The beast stopped, loosed a howl that froze my skin, and vanished into the trees as swiftly as lightning. That night, in the village, the men spoke with pale faces. "It's no wolf," said Pierre the blacksmith, clutching a cross. "It's a werewolf, a demon." The attacks continued for years, more than 100 souls lost, each one marked by the same horror. The king sent soldiers, professional hunters, even the army, but the beast seemed to mock them all. It evaded traps, ignored poison, and survived shots that would have felled a bear. Then, in 1767, everything changed. Jean Chastel, a quiet man with a steady gaze, came forward with a promise. He carried a musket and silver bullets blessed by the village priest. They said he knew the secrets of the forest, that he had faced the darkness before. On a night of full moon, he stood in an open field, as if daring the beast to face him. And it came. I was not there, but those who witnessed it told the story with trembling voices. The beast emerged from the shadows, larger than ever, its eyes blazing like fire. Jean did not waver. One shot rang out, and the creature fell, its howl cut short by silence. When they approached the body, what they saw was not merely a wolf. Its hide was strange, almost human in places, and its limbs too long, twisted in ways that defied reason. Some swore that for a moment, its face shifted, a man's face, before returning to that of a beast. Jean ordered the body burned, and no one questioned him. To this day, the people of Gevaudan avoid the forests at night. They say that on full moon evenings, a low growl can still be heard, as if the beast never truly left. I myself sometimes wake in the dead of night, my heart pounding, feeling those red eyes watching me from the shadows. And I wonder, did Jean Chastel truly kill the beast, or only enrage it? The Werewolf of Chalons. My name is Etienne, and in December of 1598, I was only a cobbler's apprentice, wandering the dark, twisted streets of Paris. The city, with its foul-smelling alleys and the constant clatter of carts, was already a place where fear could lurk in every shadow. But nothing, not thieves, not plagues, prepared our people for the horror that came with the man they called the Werewolf of Chalons. I saw things then that still make me tremble, things I carry like a curse. It began with the disappearances. Travelers passing through the forests on the city's outskirts simply vanished. First, it was a merchant, then a band of pilgrims. Their bodies, when found, were unrecognizable, torn apart, missing pieces, as if devoured by something with a savage hunger. People whispered of a wolf, but the elders, with wide eyes and trembling voices, spoke of something worse. "It is a loup-garou," they muttered, crossing themselves. A werewolf. I laughed at such tales in daylight, but at night, when the wind howled through the chimneys, I clutched my rosary tighter. I encountered him by chance one cold night, when fog swallowed the streets of Paris. I was returning from the workshop, carrying leather for my master, when I heard a scream echo from an alley near the Seine. It wasn't an ordinary scream. It was pure terror, like someone's soul was being ripped from their body. Against my better judgment, I ran toward the sound, my boots slipping on the wet stones. What I saw in that alley has haunted every night of my life since. There, beneath the dim glow of a hanging lantern, he crouched. A man, or at least something that resembled one, bent over a motionless form on the ground. He was thin, with wild, matted hair and hollow eyes that gleamed yellow, like an animal's. But it was the sound that froze me in place. A low, guttural growl that no human throat could make. He turned his head, and I swear before all the same, his face began to change. His teeth were long, sharp, and his skin twisted as though it struggled to contain the beast inside. The body at his feet was a young woman, a flower seller I recognized from the market. Her neck was torn open, blood streaming across the stones like a black river. A hoarse cry escaped me, and he saw me. For a heartbeat, his eyes locked with mine, and I felt as if he could see my soul, as if he knew who I was. Then, with an agility no man should possess, he leapt into the shadows and vanished. I ran home, barred the door, and prayed until dawn. But the fear never left me. I knew I had looked upon the devil. The rumors spread like wildfire. They called him the tailor, saying he was just a common craftsman living near Chalons. But no one could believe one man capable of such cruelty. When the authorities finally caught him, after more corpses were uncovered, what they discovered in his home made even hardened guards retch. Barrels filled with human bones, some still with scraps of flesh. Men, women, even children. He hadn't just killed, he had feasted. At his trial, the man denied nothing. He stood silent with a crooked smile that mocked us all. Witnesses like me testified to what we had seen. He did not only kill, he seemed to transform. Some swore they saw him run as a wolf, hair sprouting across his skin under the moonlight. Others claimed he whispered confessions, that he had made a pact with the devil, that the beast inside him demanded blood. The court, horrified, ordered the records destroyed, as if burning the words could burn away the evil. But it could not. I was there the day of his execution, in the crowded square where the smell of damp wood mingled with the murmurs of the crowd. They bound him to the stake, and the flames began to lick at his feet. But he did not scream like a man. No, as the fire consumed his flesh, he howled. Long, savage howls that echoed across the city and made children weep. It was as if the beast inside refused to die, as if it defied the flames with its own dark power. When the fire finally silenced him, the smoke rose black and heavy, and I swear I saw for an instant the shape of a wolf writhing in the sky before vanishing. Paris tried to forget, but I cannot. Sometimes, when I pass through dark alleys or hear the wind howl in the forests, I feel him. I feel those yellow eyes watching me, as is the Werewolf of Chalons never truly left. And I wonder if the fire really killed him, or merely set something worse free.